So my first ever laptop was a little crappy Toshiba satellite. I'll try to find a similar satellite here as they've produced many of them. It really couldn't do much. It wasn't the strongest computer around, but it could handle Oblivion on its lowest settings, and I believe at a lower resolution as well, which was kind of my real introduction into PC gaming, aside from playing some, CD-based games on, our old, Windows XP, home computer. And during my time with that satellite, I ended up playing my first ever MMO. It was Ragnarok Online 2. At the time, that was a very fun game for me. I don't really know if it's... Sorry about all the weird cuts. I'm struggling to get words out this morning. I don't really know if it's a critically acclaimed game. In fact, I really doubt it, as after I stopped playing that back in early high school, I never heard about it again. For all I know, it's not even around anymore. It was pretty fun for the time, but it was just kind of a small taste of what MMOs would be for me later down the line. Well, one laptop later, I upgraded it to a Lenovo. I don't even remember what Lenovo it was. I'll just throw a random one up here. Now, this thing could handle a lot more. I was actually able to start doing Skyrim on it instead of Oblivion, and of course, getting more into modding that and getting out of modding Oblivion. But at this time I was also done playing Ragnarok, and a friend of mine introduced me to a game known as Tera. Now this was during 2013, and Tera had just released its newest update, Tera Rising, which I think is a great pun, but it's also when the game went free to play. Now, again, my only experience prior to MMOs was Ragnarok, and I'll try to find some footage to throw up back here somewhere. And saying that Ragnarok was an MMO, Tera is just leagues ahead. Of course, I had already known about World of Warcraft and some other, competitors out there, but the action combat in Tera is what pulled me in. I never really cared as much for this kind of click and point and mash 1 through 5, which, of course, that is still kind of a thing in Tera, but it's a lot more action combat based. You actually have to dodge, you actually have to aim. It's, depending on your class, it can be very fast-paced combat, and feels more like an offline game with major online components. Now, as I am with most games, I tend to play one for a week, or 3 weeks, or 4 weeks at a time, and then I kind of stop and forget about it. And Tera has had a long history of that with me, where I'll get super into it for about a month, and then forget it exists for about 3 or 4. So since 2013, that has been my relationship with Tera. I would, continue on with, I only had, I think, 2 or 3 main characters that I played as, and every time I just got back into the game, I'd get super into it because I would get in that mood where I wanted to play an MMO, and Tera most often ended up being that answer whenever I had that MMO itch. It was always like that safe game that, no matter how long I leave it, it's always going to be there. And finally, that weird thought in the back of my brain finally broke when they announced on June 30th at 4 p.m. EST all 2, I think, of Tera's official servers are going to be shutting down. Now, of course, I have played many other MMOs since then, and I've actually been doing a lot of Elder Scrolls Online. But even then, with me being a giant Elder Scrolls fan, I don't know how the chroma key is going to react to my shirt, but, Key Targonian. I'm huge on Elder Scrolls. I still love the combat of Tera more. And it might be the only thing that I like more about Tera than ESO. But the combat is what really drew me into Tera, and it's what kept bringing me back. So with the announcement of Tera shutting down, I decided I got 2 months, because I discovered this at the beginning of April. Beginning of May. Can you tell that I don't script these videos? So I have 2 months to play this game and get everything out of it that I can within the next 2 months before it's gone forever. And so that's what I did. Now, interestingly enough, I had to start from fresh, and I actually knew about that, as when they changed their server hosting company, whatever you want to call it, they actually wiped everybody's characters if you didn't transfer it, and you only had a month or 2 to do so. And I was not active in Tera during that time. So I lost years of progress with multiple characters, and I had kind of dropped the game. I think for at least a year or 2, I didn't play Tera out of frustration that I had, all of this in-game stuff and just insane amounts of grinding all just deleted because I didn't pay attention to the game for a month or 2. So for this, I had to start new. I had to make a new character, and of course I went with the Archer, as that was always my favorite class, and it tends to be in most MMOs anyways. I like being the bow dude. Now, I was genuinely enjoying it, and I actually even paid for whatever the hell they call it now, the premium subscription service. I actually paid for that, knowing that I'm not going to be able to get anything out of it. 2 months from now, everything I've done will be gone again. Despite years of all my progress being deleted, this time I'm only going to have 2 months, and all of that's going to be deleted too. So what is really the point in the end? Well, mostly just to maximize the stuff I can do in it. However, the more I played Tera, is the more I kept thinking about ESO, and I just kept wanting to get back to ESO. And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that, but I want to start fresh on there too. So I made a new character on ESO, and I was like, look, I'm just going to play this, I'm just going to sideline it, you know, just kind of play it out a little bit casually until Tera is gone. And ever since the first day that I launched ESO, I haven't logged into Tera again. Now, it's not to say that Tera is a bad game. Like I said, it was like the MMO that I would always rely on to scratch that MMO itch. But I also think it's time to go. Obviously, the people who produced the game stopped caring about it a long time ago, as most fans know, and things have just started going downhill quicker and quicker, and they haven't been improving upon it like many of their competitors have. I think the biggest downside is selling it out to Gameforge, the company that is known for buying out MMOs that are on the brink of death and just rushing them there as quickly as possible by way over monetizing the game. When Gameforge got their hands on Tera, the writing was already on the wall. So I honestly do think, and I don't know how many people out there will agree with me, that it is rightly Tera's time to go. I mean, it's sad. It doesn't stop it from being a sad thing. I hope that, you know, I'd always hoped that if I felt like playing it, I could just log back in, but that's not the truth with MMOs or any of these online-only games. You can't just rely on it to be there forever. Now, for anybody wondering if you are a massive Tera fan, or perhaps this is the first time you've ever even heard of the game, there are still going to be ways for you to play it going forward. There are fan servers out there, and they are starting to get a lot more traction, obviously, now that Tera is shutting down. It's, God, what's the name? Mimas? Mimas? I don't know. That's the one that I was personally looking at. I looked at a few different servers, and if you just want to quickly hop into one without doing the research, that's the one that I was going to do until I decided I'm going to kill my Tera addiction with Tera dying off. But there are fan servers. There are going to be many upsides and many downsides to these fan servers. You're going to have much lower population, although when the server dies, that might help it a little bit, but you're going to have people being split up amongst multiple fan servers instead of all just being in the official game. You're also going to be playing on versions that might not have some of the updates that you like, but might still have some of the older features that they got rid of that you do like. But of course, you're always at the beck and call, you're always at the will of the person who is hosting this unofficial server. So if they decide to just start screwing around with the in-game economy or screwing around with classes, there's not much that you can do, and it's not like this is a professional team behind it. They might be, I don't really know. But it's not the size of back when Moss had the game. So as far as it closing down, I don't think I ever ended up actually hitting max level before the closure. But come June 30th, I'm going to be there regardless of whether I actually manage to stop my ESO addiction for a little bit and get back on Tera and max my character out or not. I plan on being there for its final moments on June 30th at 4 p.m. EST. I've already made arrangements at my job to ensure I have the day off, and I'm going to be getting footage of the final moments of Tera. It won't be with my face or my voice or anything like that. It's not personalized content. I want to contribute to the game at least once before it's gone, and I guess I'll do that, you know, with the final moments of its life. So if you're interested in that, that will be posted on this channel, hopefully within a day or two of Tera shutting down. But yeah, that is pretty much it. I mean, it's not a whole lot to really say here. It's a old game that I started back in 2013 that was always my cure to that MMO scratch, and now it's going away. And I mean, I was a lot more sad about it at first, before I got back into it, and before I realized, like, yeah, this just doesn't feel as nice anymore. I mean, not just the game being changed, but also comparing it to more modern MMOs. It didn't keep up with the times, in my opinion. But I guess thank you guys for watching this, and if you're also a player of Tera, if you're a fan of Tera, maybe you were years ago, maybe come around on June 30th to experience the end of the server with everybody else. I don't know what city the majority of people are planning on meeting up in, but I'll try and figure it out and go get as much footage as I can.